Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if godlike Naruto is neglected by family Batis. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Gorilla Sam Ryder and link in the description and support Ryder. Let's start the video. I do not own Naruto. Naruto looked out his window into his family courtyard where his older sister and younger sister were training. His older sister is 18, has red hair and green eyes, she's pretty much a carbon copy of Kushina his mother, and is considered to be one of the best shinobi in the village. Her name is Narumi, and her younger sister, everyone knows who she is, the savior of Konoha. She who keeps the Kyuubi away and the daughter of the Yonde Maka the Yellow Flash, Naruko Namik is the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko, also she's Naruto's younger sister by 1 year. She too has red hair, but in some weird genetic matchup has blue eyes, and her face was a mix of Kushina and Minato. Now you may be wondering why Naruto is not out there training with them, and why he's in his room. Well, that's easy, it's because it's the same reason of every other Naruto gets neglected fic on the site. It's because that since Naruto has the Kyuubi, all the attention from the family is directed at her, all the training is for her, and you know what that leaves Naruto with, little to nothing. It's not that he has low chakra reserves, he actually has above average. It is just that it pales in comparison to his family. The reason was that Narumi wasn't in the same boat as him, she has been in the Namika's family for 6 years longer than he has and have long since made her place in the house. But that doesn't matter, not anymore. Naruto has long since stopped caring about training from his parents or attention. He has trained himself mostly while not being academically gifted. He was rather ingenious at creating tactics and jutsus. He actually learned the Rasengan just by watching the steps that his father showed Naruto 2 years ago. Naruto can now form it in under a second and in one hand, while his sister takes 12 seconds and needs both hands, even then it's still underpowered. Speaking of which, that is what they were doing in the courtyard, Narumi demonstrating the creation of the jutsu while Naruto watched and tried imitate in an unsuccessful game of monkey see, monkey do. Naruto, feeling he wasn't going to learn anything new, got up, grabbed a duffel bag and walked out of the house unnoticed by his parents, who were watching the two with smiles on their faces. Naruto glanced over with uncaring look and continued onward. Although he wasn't forgotten by his family, he was largely ignored most of the time except dinners, where they asked him what he did, because he was the only one not around them 24/7. He walked down to one of the older streets leading to a path that goes behind the Hokage monument. After a while Naruto got to a long abandoned training ground that he's pretty sure he only knows about. The training ground was old, evident by the old training equipment in disrepair. The reason Naruto used this is that it was out of earshot of anyone in the village. Naruto unzipped his bag and pulled out a katana. This was actually a gift from a retired samurai who has taken a liking to Naruto and decided to train him. His name was Jiro, and he could go toe-to-toe with a cage-level shinobi, at least he could when he was young and in his prime. Anyways, Jiro explained that his reasons for training him is that he saw something in Naruto he hasn't seen in someone else for a very long time. In the course of 2 years, Jiro showed him how to use swords skillfully, and coupled with Naruto's quick learning ability, the training went fast. Naruto swung the katana around, going through a few movements and practicing strikes and defensive moves before placing the katana down to go move on to chakra techniques. He formed a Rasengan. Though having mastered it, he remember overhearing his father say it was still an incomplete jutsu, and through some trial and error with jutsu, he found he had a strong wind and lightning affinity. Since then he has been trying combine wind with a Rasengan in order to make something better, so far all the results having blown up in his face literally, but that doesn't stop him. Okay, let's see how many times I can blow myself up today, he said jokingly to himself, referencing his failures. He formed the Rasengan in his hands and took the other hand, but over it attempting to channel wind chakra into it, he actually started to see the shape change and looked like he might actually do it this time. Boom. But like all the other times, it exploded, sending him flying against a tree. God damn it. He said in bored tone, he's used to it already, so it's more of habit than anything else. He got up and tried again, and again, each time in a different way, each time ended in failure. Finally he rested after being blown back for the umpteenth time in a row. He was panting heavily with few scuffs and scrapes on him. Or I think this is the right path, but it's not working. This shouldn't be this hard. I can make a normal Rasengan with one hand. But Naruto looked at his hand for a moment. Wait a moment, holy crap, I'm a moron. He got up and made the Rasengan while channeling wind chakra from the same hand. The result was a huge blue shuriken with a Rasengan in the middle. Naruto just stared down in awe. Did I do it? He thought, amazed. It looks like a shuriken, then does that mean I can? Naruto tried a throwing motion, but the jutsu didn't fly out of his hands and threw him off balance, and he almost tripped, and holding what could be a highly destructive jutsu. Not the best thing to trip with. So you won't throw normally, eh? Let's try this. Naruto tried to throw it again, this time adding a burst of chakra creating the desired effect. The altered Rasengan flew out of his hands towards some trees, and what happened after it hit the trees was incredible. The thing made a large dome with what looked like tiny chakra blades ripping the trees to shreds. Holy crap, that was freaking awesome. Wow, said a stunned voice. Naruto turned and saw a raven-haired girl with onyx eyes. It was Uchiha Satsuki. If he remembered correctly, she was on his class at the Ninja Academy. They didn't really talk much due to her being somewhat aloof and having the majority of the guys going after her. Hey, what are you doing here? Asked Naruto, worried that someone found out his secret spot. She turned towards him and ran off. Hey, wait. Called Naruto and tried to chase after her but fell and couldn't get back up. Ah crap, can't move, used too much chakra. Naruto just laid there for a while before Satsuki came back. Why didn't you chase after me? She asked, confused. Though her voice remained even. I tried, but I'm currently suffering from chakra exhaustion and I couldn't move, said Naruto, still lying on the ground, trying to make an effort to get up, still can't. So what was that jutsu you used? She asked, interested. It was incredible. I'll tell you if you keep it secret from everyone. Especially my family. She agreed. She was confused on the family part, but she agreed. You know who my dad is, right? Asked Naruto, and she nodded. You know the Rasengan, right? Well, this is a bigger and more destructive version of it using wind chakra. But how did you figure out how to that? Your grades in class aren't great, she said, referencing to how the teachers usually yelled at Naruto for either sleeping, goofing off or trying to escape. Well, the academy bores the hell out of me, said Naruto, bluntly, catching Satsuki off guard. Yeah, it's not that I'm an idiot, it's more that I'm lazy, but instead of sleeping it off like a Nara, I actually put up an effort to entertain myself or leave. So why don't you want your family to know? I would think they would be proud of you, Satsuki asked. Well, little known fact about the Hokage's family is that they have child ranking system, meaning if you are good ninja or can obviously become, you have the parents' attention, and if you are anything less than excellent, then you get thrown to the wolves. Satsuki looked at him in shock. Also, could you keep that secret too? I know you might not understand, but it's how things are, and the sad part is they don't even know they're doing it. I understand, she muttered. What was that? I couldn't hear you. I said I understand, my father is like that too, he focuses only on those with power, she said, a little sadly. Anyone else isn't worth his time, which is why I'm confused on why you wouldn't want to show this to your family to prove yourself. Because I didn't develop these past few weeks to prove myself to anyone but me, explained Naruto, confusing the Uchiha girl. I did this to prove to myself that I can become powerful without my family's help. Satsuki looked at him in awe and newly developed respect, plus walking into the middle of the family room and setting one of these off sounds kind of stupid. He said in small laugh. In truth, Naruto really wanted to do that, but he knew he shouldn't. After his laughter died down, he noticed the sun was setting and it almost time for dinner. Crap, sun is setting, my parents are going to start asking questions. I thought your parents ignored you. I'm also the only person who doesn't hang around them, so I'm the only interesting person in their lives. Dinner is only time I become important. I freaking hate dinner. Naruto tired to get up and got to his feet, but when he tried to walk he stumbled and almost fell, only to be caught by Satsuki. I could help you get home, she offered. That would be appreciated, said Naruto with an embarrassed smile on his face. She said, looking at him. What? Asked Naruto, confused. I would think you would try to be tough and move home on your own. She said. But I need help. I'm not too proud not to admit it, he said as they began walking, plus getting walked home by a cute girl isn't too bad. Satsuki blushed and looked away from him. Something wrong? He's not being cheeky, he's just dense. Nothing, she said, still hiding her blush. They walked home, making small talk, their likes and dislikes and dreams. Satsuki wanted to become one of the highest ranked shinobi in the village, if not the best, and Naruto, he didn't know what he was going to do. Eventually they made it to the Hokage mansion. They said their goodbyes, and Naruto, who could move, went inside and saw his family was just sitting down for dinner. Dinner itself was the usual parent complimenting Naruto on how much progress she's made, asking Naruto what he did with him, giving out vague answers which his family shrugged off as they didn't really care. The next morning, Naruto got up, ate breakfast and walked to the academy. When he got it, he saw Satsuki getting hounded by most of the male population, her brother Sasuke getting hounded by most of the female population. The only people who weren't involved was the Nara kid who was sleeping, the Akamichi kid who was eating, and the Inzuka who was looking at the Hyuga who for some reason was looking at him. Anyway, Satsuki seemed to have picked him up and broke out of the crowd of male admirers and ran up to him and sat in the chair between him and the wall. Help me, she said, her normally stoic face having a look of urgency. Naruto just looked at her confused but shrugged and went with it. The boys that are surrounded wanted to try and force Naruto out of the seat but didn't. He could hear of because he's the Hokage's son and other things. Umbuses, if only they knew. Class was uneventful, though did collect a few odd looks from the class since Satsuki was sitting next to him. After class, Naruto went to his somewhat less secret now training ground to perfect his new move. When he tried it again he noticed that he could probably only do it once from full chakra reserves and that another one would completely drain him. So over the next week he concentrated on attempting to either raise his chakra level or make the new jutsu more chakra efficient, having some success with both. Satsuki also occasionally came check up on him and practice some of her jutsu in secret, and every once in a while everything went on like this until one odd moment at home. "Alright family, we are going out tonight," said Minato to the Golden Lotus Dragon. "Really?" said all the females of the family. "The what?" asked Naruto confused. "Bakanai-san. The Golden Lotus Dragon is the most expensive and exclusive restaurant in Konoha, maybe even in the entire world," said Naruto excited. Naruto looked at her annoyed for calling him a baka. "Even the daimyo needs to wait to get in." "That's not nice Naruto," said Natsumi. "It's not his fault he has lower chakra reserves." "What the heck does that have to do with my intelligence?" yelled Naruto jumping up, "and I don't want to hear that from someone who hasn't mastered the Rasengan yet." Naruto flushed looked away. "Hey, you haven't even started learning it yet," she retorted also jumping up and getting in his face. "I bet you can't even do the basics yet." They had a glaring match. And Naruto was tempted to just form a Rasengan right then and there. No, he thought it's not worth it and he looked away. "HMPH, that is what I thought," said Naruto in her falsified triumph. Now kid," said Kushina trying to ease the tension. "Let's not fighting, this is an important night." "Right." agreed Minato. "Now everyone go up and get ready." Everyone did so while the rest of his family wore rather extravagant clothes. Naruto's clothes were more plain, but his family didn't say anything and they went out to go to the restaurant, but on the way there they met some trouble. They were walking down the dark streets of Konoha's nighttime happily chatting well all except Naruto who just remained silent. All of a sudden a whole bunch of snakes burst from the ground and constrained Minato and Kushina. "Otu-san, Ka-san," screamed Naruto in terror. "Kuki-kuki-kuku," came a creepy chuckle and out of the darkness walked Konoha's most dangerous missing ninja Orochimaru. "Long time on see Minato-kun." "Orochimaru," spat Minato, "what business do you have here?" "You mean aside from destroying this pathetic village?" asked Orochimaru almost playfully. "Well, you see, the snakes gave me prophecy that a child from to great ninja and with great power inside will bring peace to the world. The snakes also said that this child would kill me if it grew too powerful." The Namikaze family glared at him. Natsumi protruded a blade and charged him but was knocked aside with ease and incapacitated with snakes. "Now that was rude. Well, regardless, I thought who this could be, then I thought about the fourth Hokage and how their daughter holds the greatest of all Biju." He then pulled out his place known as Kusanagi, "so the only way to save myself is to kill her." He appeared in front of Naruto in a flash who was frozen in fear, but as he thrusted forward yelling cursed existence technique but instead stabbing Naruto, he got Naruto's substitution jutsu. "Well, aren't you a fast thinker, but it seems counterproductive to have yourself take the blow." "Naruto," screamed Kushina actually giving a damn, but Naruto had shit-eating grin on his face. "Probably," he said while grinning surprisingly calm, "but then I wouldn't be able to do this." In an instant Naruto formed a Rasengan in his hand and jabbed into Orochimaru's gut, sending him shooting down the street, and he coughed up blood a bit. Well, that is impressive," said Orochimaru, "but you are going to have to do better than that." "Do you know the Rasengan?" asked Naruto shocked. His whole family was looking at him in shock. "Yeah, so who's the idiot now?" joked Naruto, but in a serious manner. "Excuse me for a moment." He then shot off in blue spark, stopping right in front of Orochimaru, another Rasengan in hand, shoving it into his gut and shooting him into the air. "You want better?" yelled Naruto, he said, forming another Rasengan but adding his wind chakra to it, creating his new jutsu. "Then try this." Naruto then chucked it into air, colliding with Orochimaru, creating a large torrent of chakra blades, causing massive damage to him before dispersing and falling down dead. The snakes dispersed after Orochimaru was killed and Naruto turned and walked to his family with a bleeding hole in his chest. "Alright, listen up," said Naruto in a commanding tone. "Pretty sure you have a lot of questions right now." They nodded. "But before you start asking, I have something I need you to do." They looked at him expectantly. "I'm about to pass out from blood loss and chakra exhaustion. Please take me to the hospital." And with that he fell forward and passed out. "Okay, who likes this? Kind of a rushed start, but oh well. I was going to go farther, but this is more of a way to get this out of my head so I can focus on my other stories." Naruto woke up and first thing he noticed was that he was in a hospital room. He began to wonder why he was in it when the events from last night flooded into him. "Why did hell did I do that?" he said, putting a hand to his face. "I got injured to save someone. I really couldn't care less about why the hell am I talking to myself." Before he could question his actions and sanity farther, there was a knock at the door and in came Satsuki. "Hi," she greeted with a small smile on her face. "Hey," greeted Naruto with a friendly smile on his. "You are incredible," she said, coming and sitting down next to him. "Huh?" Naruto asked confused. "That whole deal with Orochimaru," Satsuki clarified. You know about that? He exclaimed. The whole village does. What? Yeah, apparently some civilians were watching you from their houses, along with some shinobi passing by, Satsuki explained, and now you're a village hero. Great, I become a hero by killing an S-rank pedophile, said Naruto sarcastically. That's just perfect. You don't seem too happy. Well, I'm used to everyone just forgetting I was there, he said, and now I'm going to have walk down the street with everyone watching or praising me. My life is going to be a pain in the ass now. Naruto sat up to reveal that he was shirtless as the covers came off. Satsuki blushed and quickly looked away. What the hell is this? She turned back and saw a wicked-looking seal on the center of his chest. Looks like a seal. A seal? Asked Naruto. You were asleep for that class, weren't you? Asked Satsuki with a stern gaze. Haha, probably, said Naruto with a sheepish look on his face. Seals in the ninja world can be used for almost anything from storage to explosive tags and much more, she explained. I wonder what this one is for. Elsewhere in the hospital. That seal looks to be a variation of Orochimaru's curse seal, said Jiraiya to Minato and Kushina, making the two gasp. After Naruto passed out and they brought him to the hospital, they found the odd seal on his chest and contacted Jiraiya, who was conveniently in the village at the time. Tsunade was also present, being the head of the hospital and the one who healed up Naruto. Does this mean that Naruto is going to be controlled by Orochimaru? Asked Kushina with a fearful look in his eyes. No, this seal is for something else, explained Jiraiya. Even if the seal was for that, Orochimaru is dead and the seal would have no effect. This is something different. He stared at the copy of the seal, still trying to figure it out, but then gasped. No, he didn't, did he? Jiraiya had look on his face that was anything but good. What is it? Did you figure out the seal? Asked Minato urgently. I hope not, he replied gravely, but from what I can tell this seal is meant to shorten a person's lifespan to a fixed time. After they are branded. They looked at him scared. What's worse is that it seemed to be connected to his chakra coils, said Tsunade, using her limited yet useful information on seals. I think that means if Naruto uses a jutsu, it will affect the seal in some way I can't determine at the moment. Kushina gasped and began to tear up, while Minato had a grave look on his face. Which is weird since they started caring like last night. Naruto's hospital room. So how are you going to deal with your family? Asked Satsuki. Geez, I don't know, said Naruto with an odd look. I really do not want to deal with those people right now. I'll just think of something then, and there I guess. Just then the door opened and Naruto's sisters walked in. Well, looks like I have to go now, said Satsuki, getting up. Good luck. She had an out-of-character mischievous tone to that last part. Naruto gave a nervous chuckle as she left, but when he did he went back and annoyed. Hey, wait, don't leave me alone with them, pleaded Naruto, but Satsuki left regardless. Damn it. Alright, what do you two want? He said in an annoyed voice. They flinched at his tone. Thank you, said Naruto in quiet voice, looking down. Huh? I can't hear you. Thank you for saving me, she clarified. Oh, that I didn't really think and went in on reflex. Goddamn Jiro and his intense sword training, making me all jumpy. Still good training. You have sword training? Asked Narumi, surprised. When, how, where? I don't really see why you care. But he's a retired samurai named Jiro. Great guy, he treats me to ramen sometimes, explained Naruto after putting through the brutal process he calls training. He put in as an afterthought. So how do you know the Rasengan? You remember when dad taught to you like 2 years ago? They nodded. Well, I just saw a bunch of spiraling chakra from my room and kind of worked from there. About a week later, I had it hammered down and make it in about 5 seconds. Then over the next few months I worked on make it faster. They just stared at him in awe. He learned it even faster than me, thought Narumi, a little envious, and I had step-by-step instruction from Tusan. He just learned by himself, where it might as well be his jutsu. What about those other jutsus you used? Asked Naruto. I told you guys enough already, said Naruto. I'm not explaining anything else. Then an argument broke out between the three. Hospital front desk. A middle-aged man with short brown hair and brown eyes walked into the hospital. He wore a dull green yukata with a dark brown coat over it and had a katana strapped to his side. Other notable features include an X-shaped scar in his right cheek. This man's name is Jiro Kanata, Naruto's sensei, and you may be wondering why he's able to bring a weapon into a hospital. Well, he's in a ninja village, so carrying weapons into public places isn't illegal. Excuse me, Jiro said with a kind smile as the admissions lady looked up. Could you tell me what room Naruto Namikaze is in? Yes, but I'll need you to sign in first, said the lady. Jiro did so. He's in room 429. The man gave his thanks and walked off. Back in Naruto's room. The argument was still going on between the three before the door opened and Jiro walked in, silencing the three. Glad to see you're getting along with your family, Naruto. He joked. More or less joked back Naruto. Good to see you, old man. He wasn't this nice to us. We came and thought. Naruto Ani-san, who is this? This is Jiro, explained Naruto, my sensei. Naruto ignored the bug-eyed looks of his sisters. So I've heard you had a little run-in with Orochimaru, Jiro stated. Haven't had to deal with him since my Ronin days. Very dangerous man, he had great darkness in his heart. Wait, you fought Orochimaru and you're still alive? Exclaimed Narumi, surprised. Not only that, I also defeated him, said Jiro, smile never leaving his face, though seeing as how my student got hurt, I regret not finishing him off. Why didn't you? Asked Narumi. During the time I defeated him it just didn't seem worth it to kill him, he explained. Of course during that time I didn't know I would have student. You were lazy, weren't you? Asked Naruto with an incredulous look on his face. Haha, my student knows me too well, said Jiro laughing. So tell me, my boy, how has that new technique you told me about working? Oh, that it's finished, said Naruto with a proud look on his face. It's actually what I used to kill Orochimaru. And does it kick as much ass as you wanted? Asked Jiro. And a whole lot more, replied Naruto excitedly. Why is Naruto so open with this guy and not us, thought the sisters. As if it wasn't obvious. Hospital hallway. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Kushina and Minato were all walking across the hospital to Naruto's room to tell him about his condition. They were passing the front desk when Tsunade noticed something on the sheet and hurriedly picked it up. This name, it can't be him. What's wrong, Haim? Asked Jiraiya, walking up before noticing the name. That name. What is he doing here? Is something wrong? Asked Minato, worried that a name could strike up fear in the legendary Sannin. Instead of answering, Tsunade turned to the desk attendant. This man, where did he go? Oh, him. He went to Naruto's room, replied the attendant. What? Then she and Jiraiya ran off, Minato and Kushina in tow. Naruto's room. Naruto and Jiro were laughing at one of Jiro's stories of a prank he pulled when he was Naruto's age. Haha, I can't believe you did that, said Naruto. Haha, neither could they, replied Jiro. All the while Naruto and Narumi stared at them with dumbfounded expressions on their faces. Before the conversation could continue, Tsunade burst through the door. Jiraiya and Naruto's parents ran in behind her. Jiro, Kanata, what are you doing here? She sounded pissed, plus she also had a rage-filled look on her face. And the rest of the Sannin finally show up, said Jiro in relaxed voice. Despite present circumstances, I was wondering if the rest of you were in the village. Of course we are now. What are you doing in his room? Yelled Tsunade. Well, can't a sensei visit his injured student in the hospital? Student? Yelled Tsunade. Yelled again, him. Points at Naruto. Never mind that, I'll never forgive you for what you did. What did he do? Asked Narumi, getting worried at the situation. Tsunade didn't respond as she was too busy glaring at Jiro, who kept a calm composure, so Jiraiya answered. Well, it's a long story. During the Second Shinobi War there was a Ronin who traveled around during the fighting. He belonged to neither side, but his sword skills were legendary, and he defeated numerous shinobi, and he was usually outnumbered and supposedly outmatched. He paused. I didn't think he existed until the Sannin were sent to take a town that remained neutral in the conflict but had great strategic value. Normally we the Sannin wouldn't be needed for that kind of thing, but apparently both Iwa and Konoha were having trouble due to a lone swordsman in the town. Well, we were sent to secure it, and when we got there we found which Konoha squad was sent to take the town. Flashback many years ago when Orochimaru was still goodish, so a really long time ago. The Sannin, Tsunade, Jiraiya and Orochimaru were en route to the town to secure it. I can't believe Sensei is sending us to capture a neutral town. This is for the normal shinobi, complained Jiraiya as they walked toward their destination. The normal shinobi did try and were pushed back, retorted Tsunade. Apparently there's a swordsman guarding the town. Just one? Asked Jiraiya. Hey, maybe it's the Ronin that's been wandering around and is rumored to be unbeatable, he said this sarcastically. Real or not, said Tsunade, there's a possibly dangerous enemy in that town. The journey continued on in silence until we came on and saw a group of 3 injured Leaf Nin. Were you the group in charge of taking the town? She asked. Yeah, replied one, clutching his shoulder. There's just one of them, but that guy is a freaking monster. Is he a shinobi? Asked Orochimaru. No, that's the scary part, replied the Leaf Nin. He's a samurai Ronin, probably he took us all out with just his sword. Wait, there are only 3 of you, said Tsunade, noticing the numbers. Where's your medic? The Ronin killed him. He apparently figured out that Dan was getting us back on our feet and back to fighting him, so he took him out, explained the Leaf Nin, as the others nodded. He only injured him, but he bled out on. Did you say Dan is Dan Kato? Asked Tsunade worriedly. Yes, said the Leaf Nin. Poor guy, man had a girlfriend too, always talking about her, saying how great she was. He stopped when he noticed her expression. Ah crap, you're his girlfriend, aren't you? Tsunade was now grief-stricken with tears coming to her eyes and hands covering her mouth. She cried for a few moments while her teammates looked on with grave looks on their faces. Where is his body? She asked, regaining her composure. Behind the tree, said the Leaf Nin, and without further words she went behind the tree to see Dan's body with a vertical slash going across from his left shoulder over his heart, and in a grief-filled silence, picked up the necklace she gave him before he was deployed and put it around her neck. "I'll never forgive that bastard for what he's done," said Tsunade walking back to her team. "Let's go." Jiraiya and Orochimaru nodded, and they ran towards the town. The streets were lit, revealing a few bloodstains on the ground, and sitting on a crate at the far end of the town was a man who had wild spiky brown hair, an X-shaped scar on his right cheek. He wore a tattered sleeveless brown yukata which was oddly folded at the lower area so that the right leg was revealed and the left was covered over some black pants. He also had some metal armor protecting his torso, wrist and shins. He also currently had his eyes closed. "Are you the Ronin defending this town? You see anybody else here with a sword, you dumb bitch?" retorted the man. Tsunade fumed at this. "Yeah, I'm him, and I'll tell you what I told those other Leaf Nin. The people of this town want to remain out of your crap ass war and be left alone. So either leave or I'll kick you out on your asses." The Sannin just looked at him. Usually enemies retreat when they're outnumbered, and them being the Sannin were thrown for a loop. Except Tsunade, who was too damn angry to care. "I'll never forgive you for what you did." "What? You're angry because I called you a bitch?" asked the Ronin. "No, because you killed Dan." "Who the fuck is Dan?" "He's that medic you killed in the last team," put in Jiraiya. "Oh, him?" he said. "Tenacious bastard kept healing his teammates, so I incapacitated, must have bled out. Dumbest ninja team shouldn't have tried to move him in that condition." The Ronin scratched his cheek. "Before we begin, what is your name?" "Me?" asked Ronin. "My name is Jiro Kanata, and if you don't remember it, you sure as hell will remember the feeling of my foot kicking your ass." He then charged. Flashback end. "Then he proceeded to give us the worst defeat since Hanzo," said Jiraiya, "and true to his word, he literally kicked us out of that town." Jiro actually caught one of Tsunade's punches. "One thing bugs me though," said Narumi as everyone looked at her. "That person in your story sounds nothing like this guy." "I calmed down in my later years," explained Jiro, who still had a calm smile on his face. "That was a good battle, though hadn't had a workout like that in a long time, even that ninja squad before you guys went down quick." "Bastard," yelled Tsunade, who threw one of her famous punches at him, but to everyone's surprise, he casually caught it. Well, I seem to have overstayed my welcome here." Jiro calmly got up. "See you later, Naruto, I'll be leaving now." "Catch you later, old man," replied Naruto, grinning happily. As Jiro left, after he went out, Naruto noticed everyone looking at him. "What? Since when have you been training in sword usage?" "Ask more like," yelled Kushina, who was surprised Naruto got someone that defeated the Sannin to train him. "And why didn't you ask us first?" "I did," said Naruto, annoyed. Everyone looked at him surprised. "You were all there too." Flashback again, 2 years ago. Naruto is 10 in this flashback. Probably should put ages in here at the beginning. "Hey Kas, and can I go get sword training from a samurai named Jiro Kanata?" asked Naruto to Kushina, who is the resident sword specialist of the family, who currently was busy watching Narumi and Naruto do workouts together. Minato was sitting next to his parents. "Oh sure, I'm kind of busy right now," she said, not really paying attention to him. "Just do whatever." "You sure?" "Naruto, quit bugging your mother, we're busy right now," said Minato. Naruto just shrugged and left. Flashback end. "Asshole," said Naruto, as the whole group looked at him. "So you just going to stand there gawking at me, or is there a reason you all came here?" Tsunade decided to be the one to break the news to him. "Naruto," he looked at her, "regarding the seal on your chest, it's going to kill you in 3 months." "What?" screamed Narumi and Naruto. "Oh well shit," said Naruto, a little shocked. "Okay, fast update, don't get used to it, I just wanted to get this up since I probably won't have time to work on this weekend." So little history on Naruto sensei and his relation to the Sannin, mainly the relation of his foot kicking their ass. Yeah, read and review. Anyone else have to deal with this guy? Anyways, on to the story. "So I'm going to die in 3 months," said Naruto in a calm tone, staring at his family. "Well, that sucks." The family was surprised at his attitude. "You seem to be taking this rather well," commented Tsunade. "I faced Orochimaru last night," said Naruto. "I'm more surprised that I'm alive to begin with, besides not like I have a dream or anything." "You don't have a dream?" exclaimed everyone. Yes, the Hokage family was known as the Dream Family, as in, from young age they know what to do with their lives. Minato wanted to be Hokage, it happened. Kushina knew what she wanted. Naruto wants to be the strongest ninja ever. Narumi wants to be world-renowned ninja. "Nope," deadpanned Naruto. "When I want to do something I do it, and ending up getting it done in a short amount of time." They just stared at him. "Then what were you training for?" asked Naruto, confused. "Survival," replied Naruto. "I'm training to be a ninja, damn it. Once I graduate I get thrown to the wolves. I went looking for training to make sure I last long enough to figure out what to do with my life, and you people sure as hell weren't training me." The family looked at him in shock. "Now if you'd excuse, I'm going to go find one of the 2 people in the village I actually want to talk to." With it he got up and began to walk away among the shocked looks of his family. "Naruto," said Kushina, as Naruto stopped at the door and glanced back. "There is no known cure, but we'll be here for you." Naruto just looked back with a bit of surprise on his face, but covered it up and left. Soon Natsumi and Naruto left with worried looks on their faces. Minato turned to Kushina with serious look on his face, you did the right thing. Flashback. There is no way we can cure this, said Jiraiya as he and Swan finished examining the seal. Minato and Kushina had horrid looks on their faces. Are you sure? Asked Minato. Yeah, Orochimaru put a lot of thought into this seal. If anyone tried to remove it, the seal would immediately incinerate the being it's attached to, in this case Naruto. Is there really nothing you can do? Asked Kushina, a bit tearful, yet Tsunade had a pondering look on her face. Something wrong? Asked Jiraiya. Well, there may be a possibility, said Tsunade as everyone looked at her. Hopefully my grandfather, also known as the first Hokage, told me about this stone. She paused. This stone is supposed to cure any ailment, poison, disease, birth defects, even seals. It's called the Stone of the Spirits, interrupted Jiraiya. Tsunade, that is not a viable option. I've been in that area. The town where the legend started doesn't even believe it exists anymore. So then there is no hope, said Minato. There's no proof that it doesn't exist, said Tsunade, for crying out loud. This is your son Minato. I'm not going to give him some false hope that ends depressing him in the end. Said Minato. The most we can do for him now is to have him spend time with his family. Kushina nodded, but had an uncertain look on her face. Flashback end. Naruto was walking down the street. People were just watching him and giving him a wide berth. Son of a bitch, thought Naruto. Is that the kid who beat Orochimaru? Yeah, I heard he's not even out of the academy yet. Well, he is the Hokage's son. Conversations. Well, there goes my individual accomplishments, thought Naruto, a little annoyed. But there's this rumor going around that he used a jutsu that even the Hokage doesn't know. And now I feel better. Eventually Naruto found what he was looking. Jiro, who was sitting outside on a box in front of his one-story house, which was more like shack, drinking a cup of tea. Hey old man, greeted Naruto. Ah, Naruto, how are you, said Jiro, looking up to his student. Well, I'm going to die in 3 months, said Naruto bluntly, though Jiro seemed unfazed. That is unfortunate, said Jiro calmly. Yeah, kind of seems like you trained me for nothing. Jiro just laughed at this. Naruto, when I decided to train you, it wasn't because of pity or you being the Hokage's son, or to even carry on my technique, explained Jiro. I trained you because when I looked into those eyes of yours, I saw your willpower. He paused. That kind of power is greater than anything. It has the ability to overcome anything in this world. It is the will to never give up. That is why I trained you, because of your will. I'm sure you'll find some way through this. So you trained me because I'm a headstrong moron, joked Naruto with a smile. Basically, replied Jiro with a smile, and if you need anything, I'll be here for you. You always are, old man, said Naruto. Thanks. Naruto left feeling better. He walked still feeling awkward because of all the looks he was getting. There's no way in hell I'm getting used to this. The next day. Naruto walked into the classroom and everyone looked at him with wonder. Not this shit again, Asakura. Don't say anything, and sat down as usual. Maybe they'll ignore you as usual. This was not true. He sat down in farthest corner from the front and was instantly swarmed by classmates asking him questions about how he got so good and if he was scared, which somehow eventually turned into POPLE, mostly female classmates, asking him if they could sit next to him. Somebody save me. He thought, a little taken aback by all the sudden attention. Naruto, I believe you said I could sit here today. Naruto turned and saw Satsuki, who was grabbing onto the seat next to his. Oh right, said Naruto, catching on. I guess that slipped my mind. Ha ha ha, whoops. As Satsuki sat down, the crowd lost interest and went back to their usual positions. You are a good person. Satsuki smiled. I know, she said. Class went as usual, except for everyone glancing at him occasionally. Hokage's office. Minato and Jiraiya were in the Hokage's office. Oh Jiraiya, what was it you want to tell me? It's a prophecy from the toad, said Jiraiya, just like in most of the other Naruto gets neglected fics. Minato looked intrigued. It said a child born from 2 great shinobi and who has great inner strength shall save the world. I think it may be Narumi with the Kyuubi in her and all, and you and Kushina being the greatest shinobi of your generation. Orochimaru said the same thing when he attempted to kill Narumi, said Minato, so it must be her. If you and Orochimaru, who is admittedly a genius in his own right, both think Narumi is the prophesized child, there is a good chance you may be right. That was actually Orochimaru's motive for coming here and trying to kill her, because he thought she was going to overpower him farther down the road. Funny how Naruto was the one to kill him. So couldn't Naruto also be the prophesized child? Asked Jiraiya. I don't think so, said Minato. In thinking pose among the family, Naruto is the least powerful by having the lowest chakra reserves. And yet he not only went toe-to-toe with Orochimaru, but defeated him as well, responded Jiraiya. He is undoubtedly skilled, replied Minato, but the prophecy asks for power, and Naruto doesn't exactly fit that category, but to be able to complete the Rasengan is incredible. I wonder how he did that. He completed the Rasengan? Exclaimed Jiraiya. Yes, said Minato, I haven't even made much progress. I wonder how he did it. Didn't you train him? No, unfortunately Narumi's training came first due to her being a Jinchuriki and all. Yes, the demon containers tend to have problems controlling their tenants unless they are trained, said Jiraiya in a thoughtful tone, but still did you at least spend time with him? I'll admit that I have neglected him for most of his life, but I'll make sure his last 3 months are the greatest months of his life. Depends on if he lets you, if that interaction in the hospital is anything to go by, thought Jiraiya to himself. Hokage Mansion. Naruto walked in the door and found his entire family waiting for him. The hell is this, he thought. Welcome home, son, said Kushina. All of the family had welcoming smiles on their faces. Naruto just stared. The hell? I was wondering if you could have a spar with me before dinner. Right, because the first thing you do to a guy who got out of the hospital yesterday is ask them to fight you, Naruto stated sarcastically. Guilt and embarrassment flashed across their faces. Whatever, fine. Figure you people won't let this go until my grave terrified expression flashed across their faces. Yeah, that was on purpose. He has an odd sense of humor. Well, let's get to it. His family was almost too shocked to respond. Alright, said Kushina, and the entire family moved to the training grounds. First time out on the training ground when I'm actually training, thought Naruto. This brings back a lot of resentment. Well, at least I didn't have to clean the place like the other two, besides 3 more months, and I don't have to deal with these people. Geez, I'm depressing myself today. He grabbed a wooden training sword out of a barrel full of identical swords. Alright, drag this out and hide my skill, or screw it, I'm lazy. I'll just get this over with in one go. Besides, they already know I can go toe to toe with a Sannin. You may begin when ready, said Minato, who was refereeing the match. The reason is that Kushina is the sword master of the family and the entire village, so she's in there so she can gauge his skill. Kushina charged while Naruto just stood in one spot, sword resting on his shoulder. Kushina got close enough, she swung. Well, it would seem like she would hit, she didn't. It happened in a flash. Kushina swung down, but Naruto wasn't there anymore. He was behind her in the same pose as he was when she attacked. That it? He asked, annoyed. Well, his family looked on in shock. Well, if you need me, you know what, never mind, like hell I'm telling you where I'm going. Wait, the match is still going on. Protested Kushina. You can't leave in the middle of the fight. No, actually I shattered your sword and am now leaving, said Naruto, much to the confusion of the family. What are you talking? Kushina was interrupted as her training sword shattered into pieces. The family was shocked even more at this display of skill. Like I said, the match is over, declared Naruto. Now I'm going to go talk with Jiro. Wait, shouldn't spend your remaining time with those close to you. Why the hell do you think I'm going to talk to Jiro? Said Naruto in an annoyed manner. Seriously weird how you people give a damn all of a sudden. He muttered this last part, but the family still heard. Insert smartest remark about why this took so long here. Naruto was at his secret training ground. This was his first time coming here since he got out of the hospital, and his family just had to try to get in on it. He sensed Naruto and Narumi trailing him, but he managed to lose them, though it was difficult having to use his normal abilities without chakra, but he managed. Now he finally made it to the training ground and was ready to roll. Being cooped up in the house with a now overprotective family made him stir crazy, plus it was a total 180 from what he's used to and is creeping Naruto out. Alright, let's see if this seal screwed anything up. He exclaimed and began channeling lighting chakra to his feet, and like his fight with Orochimaru, he disappeared in a blue flash and reappeared at different location, but instead of landing on his feet, Naruto tripped and tumbled, clutching his chest in pain. He felt intense burning. He quickly took off his shirt and found that the seal was now glowing an ominous dark purple color with a sinister aura radiating off of it. Yeah, he said in a strained voice, that seal definitely screwed something up. Naruto? Yelled a girl's voice. He looked to the side and saw Sasuke running towards him. She must have came here to train too. He could tell she came here regularly because he saw a few new scorch marks when he arrived. Hey Satsuki, he said in his lying position. Are you alright? She asked, concerned. Other than the intense pain and glowing seal which is creeping me out, I'm doing great, replied Naruto bluntly. What happened? Well, I tried using a jutsu and ended up in pain while the seal lit up. What would Orochimaru gain by putting this on you? She asked, worried for who is probably the only person she can truly consider a friend outside her family. Well, it was actually for my sister, said Naruto. The younger one? Yeah, answered Naruto, because she has the Kyuubi and is or eventually will be the most powerful ninja on the planet. He decided to take her out early. Why would he put a seal on her instead of just killing her outright? Probably to cause as much mental and emotional trauma to the family as possible, said Naruto. The freak had a reputation for being twisted. Well, anyways, before he put it on my sister, I did a substitution with her so I could hit him with a Rasengan, inadvertently hitting me. But why did you use the substitution? Asked Satsuki, both amazed and concerned at what her friend did. Why not let her take blow so you can finish him off? Naruto thought about it a bit. Don't know, he said plainly. Maybe I wanted to make him not succeed at what he wanted to do, or maybe something in me still gives a damn and wants to be part of the family. Probably the only reason I don't have an intense amount of rage at them. "You're too nice," said Sasuke, "but I guess that's one of your good features." She thought that last part. "Maybe I am, but there's not much we can do about it now," said Naruto sighing as he got up, "because there is an extremely good chance that I'll die in a few months." "You say that like you have an alternative," said Satsuki with hidden hopefulness that she covered with her normal serious expression. "Well, Jiro says that I'll find some way to get through this alive. He explained that guy has never steered me wrong before, so if he says there's a chance, then I'll believe there's a chance. Plus he told me about the stone of the spirits, and I figure if I can get my parents' help we could find it." After that they got to training, well more like Naruto attempting a few more jutsus and all of them ending up in pain for him. This went on until Sasuke forcibly made him stop by pinning him to the ground and twisting his arm around his back until he surrendered. After that she helped him home due to his pain and exhaustion. "I don't get why you should get your parents involved," said Satsuki. "I thought you didn't really care for them. Also, what's the stone of the spirits?" "It's more like if I don't I die. Plus Jiro said I should give them a chance," deadpan Naruto, "and the stone of the spirits is basically a super medicine. It can heal or cure anything. It can also add on years to your life. Sounds like everyone would be after it or in a museum." "Well, supposedly it doesn't exist," said Naruto, "but no one has found proof that it doesn't." "Is this what Jiro told you?" asked Satsuki incredulously. "Hey," protested Naruto, "I trust that guy more than most of the village." "Considering it's you, that's not saying much," said Satsuki. "You have a lack of experience when trusting people." "I trust you," countered Naruto. Maybe you do have a decent sense of judging people," said Satsuki looking away with a blush. "Right," said Naruto with a cheeky grin. Satsuki helped to the door. At the point he was able to walk well, limp inside, and was walking down to the living room. "This is probably going to be the hardest thing I've ever done," he thought with a sigh, and was about to walk in when he heard voices. "Did we do the right thing, Minato?" said Kushina in an anxious voice, totally unaware Naruto was just outside. "Like I've told you before," said Minato in a dead serious voice, "it's better have him convinced of something than to give him false hope." "But if it exists, the stone of the spirits could save him," protested Kushina. "And if it doesn't, then he will die in more despair than before." The two went silent. "Plus if I send people out they could die for nothing." "Well, they blew that chance quickly," thought Naruto with scowl. "Okay, new plan, go out there and search for the damn thing myself." When humans get down to the wire they will make plans out of desperation, and those plans may not be the best, but more often than not they work to some degree. "It's probably better to have them think I just got home," and he walked back to the door. "I'm home," he called out in his annoyed tone he usually uses around his family. "Welcome back," said Kushina from the living room in a solemn tone, probably due to the conversation earlier. "What's with you?" asked Naruto faking his confusion. "It's nothing," she replied. "Dinner will be ready in a few minutes." "Alright," said Naruto walking past the door and looking in. "Hey, Minato." The two flinched at him and he moved on. This isn't the first time he used their names instead of the mother-father label, but it still made them flinch. Later at dinner, everyone, excluding Naruto, was back to their normal happy-ish mood as they sat around the dinner table. "So Naruto started, Minato, I'm curious of when and how you learned the Rasengan." "What? They haven't told you yet?" he asked, pointing at his sisters who stopped eating to look up. No," said Minato. "No, they did not." "We figured you should tell him," said Narumi with a guilty look on her face. "I figured they would have told you by now," said Naruto in pondering stance. "Anyways, you know how my room's window is right above the training ground? Well, I saw you demonstrating it to Naruko and simplified it to just being a swirling ball of chakra, worked from there and had it down in a week. A week after that I could do it under a second." Minato's jaw dropped. "That's incredible. It took your older sister twice that long to even complete one," said Minato amazed, "and she had step-by-step instruction from me." "Told you chakra reserves had nothing to do with intelligence," said Naruto getting up from the table. "Now if you'll excuse me, I have some crap I need to deal with," and walked away. "Wait," said Minato, "what about the completed version? How did you do that?" "Tenacity," said Naruto. "Jiro taught me that if I'm tenacious enough I can come over anything." He learned this during his first win against Jiro in a spar, although had it been a real fight, he'd be dead and missing all his limbs. "That samurai again," said Minato, gritting his teeth. "It's like he took my son away from me." Baseless jealousy plays a great part in these types of stories, and occasionally along with incest. "Breaking the fourth wall again, trolololo. Can you show us?" asked Minato, getting back his composure. "No," said Naruto, "and for two reasons. One is that when I use chakra the seal on my chest lights up and causes me a great deal of pain." The rest of the Namikazes had horrified looks on their faces. "And two, I don't want to," and with that he left. The next day, the academy day ended and Naruto was quick to get out, and not because of unwanted attention. He had a purpose, and in his case it was life and death. He ran to Jiro's shack and opened the door. "Hey old man, I need your help." "What do you need?" replied Jiro with his ever-friendly expression. "I need to know where the stone of the spirits is." Well, I can't tell you where it is exactly or else its existence wouldn't be controversial, said Jiro, but I can tell you where the town where the legend's origin is. Then he paused. Weren't you going to try to get your parents' help? I was, said Naruto. Then I overheard a conversation that I probably shouldn't have, and I'll just say I lost all faith in them. I see, said Jiro. Well then here's a map. I have a route from here to the town marked, but I must warn, even that place has largely stopped believing in the legend. You're the one who trained me for my stubbornness, rebutted Naruto. Jiro laughed at this. True, said while laughing, but then turned serious. Would you like me to come with you? I would like you to, said Naruto, but I think it's time for the student to go out on his own. I've taught you well, said Jiro with smile. I'm leaving tonight, thanks for everything, old man, said Naruto with a smile of his own, and he left. Hokage Tower. It's really come down to this, thought Minato looking at a document. The Uchiha are really going through with this rebellion. The document in front of him was an order, and one signed and stamped would order the mass killing of the Uchiha clan. It's something that must be done, he said while signing it. Things have deteriorated rapidly with Uchiha clan. The general population could see the tension, but they don't know the depth. The Uchihas themselves were actually rather angry about something, that the village would forcibly marry off clan members to improve relations between villages. This gives Fugaku, the Uchiha clan head, a justifiable reason to start a coup and put him in charge. He has been bitter ever since he lost a position to him all those years ago and has been wanting to take power for himself ever since. Anbu agents are meant to undertake this mission. One agent in particular, Itachi Uchiha, he was young, just barely into adulthood. He volunteered to take mission himself. He did so with a straight face, but anyone could tell it tore him up on the inside. If he was to take the mission, his brother Sasuke would be spared. He wanted to save his sister too, but was denied this as it being too big of a risk. Unknown to anyone, he told his mother, who though saddened understood his reasons and respected his loyalty towards the village. Later that night, Naruto finished writing the note to his family that would be left there whenever they would come up. It was after dinner, so he probably had until morning. He had his gear packed up and ready. Naruto then escaped through the window and landed as quietly as he could, quickly hiding behind the tree. As his family was still in the living room, he snuck over to the more shaded part of the training ground and climbed up a post to get to the roof. The reason this is impressive is that he isn't using chakra, he's using his pure physical skill to get this done. He then moved to front of the house and dropped down just outside a window, briefly glancing at his family, who did seem to be enjoying themselves. Out of sight, out of mind, thought Naruto, before running and jumping the outer wall. One last thing to do, and moved to the Uchiha district, which eerily quiet even for nighttime, and stopped at main house and knocked on the door. A woman came to the door who Naruto recognized as Mikoto. Behind her he could hear a great deal of commotion. Is that you, Naruto? What are you doing here? She asked, honestly surprised. Yeah, he replied, that was a nicer reception than I thought. Is Satsuki here? I need to talk to her. Yes, one moment. She went back inside and soon Satsuki came to the door. Naruto, what are you doing here? She asked. Come out here, I need to tell you something. She did, and they walked a good distance away from the house. Listen, I'm leaving the village tonight to look for the stone, and since you're one of two people I can trust here, I figure you have the right to know. You're leaving? I thought your family was going to help you. Surprise broke her composure. Wait, did they screw that up? Seconds after entering the house, replied Naruto. I don't know whether to be impressed or disappointed, said Satsuki. So this what you kids were talking about, said a voice. They both turned toward the direction, while Naruto took out his katana in preparation of trouble. Out of the shadows walked Mikoto. Mom? Said Satsuki, what are you doing? I came to listen to what a boy had to say to my girl so late at night, although I was expecting something else, she said. Satsuki, I want you to go with him. What? They both exclaimed. Why? Asked Satsuki. I'm sure both of you know about the tension between the Uchiha and the rest of the village. They both nodded. Well, the Uchiha are going to make a move tonight, and the Hokage is going to have us all wiped out save for Sasuke. The one do this is going to be Itachi. Now that's just messed up, said Naruto, while Satsuki had an absolutely stunned look on her face. I can't believe they're actually going through with this. Why is Itachi doing this? Asked Satsuki. He was trying to protect you and Sasuke, but the village council only wants him to live for breeding reasons. Mikoto looked uncomfortable as she said the last part. Once again, that's messed up, said Naruto. So Naruto started Mikoto, gaining their attention. I'm begging, please bring my daughter with you when you go. Alright, said Naruto. Seriously? Said Satsuki. Yes. Wouldn't your parents be after you considering the way they've acted so far, said Satsuki. Usually I don't have to deal with them after dinner, said Naruto, but just in case you might want to hurry and get your things. Satsuki quickly rushed inside and a few minutes later she returned with a bag. You ready? She nodded. Good luck on your journey, said Mikoto as they ran off. The streets were mostly empty as most of everyone was inside sleeping or doing other things. If you don't get what I'm saying, get the hell off the internet. Anyways, Naruto and Satsuki stuck to the walls as much as possible, trying to keep a low profile until they turned and met an Anbu agent head-on, not just any Anbu agent, it was Itachi. "Ah shit," said Naruto, jumping back and drawing his sword in a defensive stance in front of Satsuki, who pulled out a kunai of her own. Itachi just eyed the two. He noticed the bags they were carrying were meant for long-distance travels. He was aware of Naruto's friction with his parents, and being as smart as he was figured out what was happening. "Thank you," he said and walked past them without another word. "Wow," said Naruto when they got out of earshot. He really does not want to do what he's about to do. "Speaking of which, how are you holding up?" "I am okay," replied Satsuki. "I'm trying not to think about it, but I'll have accepted sooner or later." The Hokage mansion. Naruto was walking up to her brother's room as her family was trying to make another attempt to reconnect with him, which probably would have failed even if he didn't overhear the conversation last night. She goes into his room and finding no one there, thinking he was in the bathroom, she waited in the room until she noticed a folded piece of paper. She picked it up, unfolded it, read it, and in shock ran downstairs. "What this mean?" she asked urgently, holding out the note. "What does what mean?" asked Kushina, taking the note, and froze when she read it. "What is it?" said Minato, coming up, also freezing when he saw the note. This is what it read. "Overheard you guys last night. Going to go find Stone of the Spirits. Later bitches." Naruto. "Is he seriously leaving?" asked Kushina, a little stunned. "What's going on?" asked Narumi, confused but also concerned due to everyone's reaction. "Naruto made a mistake," said Minato. "He's looking for something that isn't there. We have to get him back," said Kushina. "I'm already on it," said Minato. "I just called Anbu. Those who are on duty have already dispatched." "But Naruto." "Ah crap," said Naruto with his sword out. Satsuki was in a similar stance with a kunai they caught on fast. They were currently surrounded by 5 Anbu agents, all of them with their weapons drawn. "Naruto Namikaze," said the squad leader, "you are hereby ordered to return to the village or we will take you by force." "Screw you," retorted Naruto. "And the Uchiha is to return for execution." "Fuck you," said Naruto. "That just gives another reason to leave." "So it's force then?" "No frickin' duh." At this they charged, and Naruto managed to block one of them, pushing him back and hitting another one in the gut with his hilt before hitting another one who was not expecting him to react so fast and got cut across the chest. "And now I'm a criminal," he said dryly. "Well, no choice now. I'm getting the hell out of here." After he said this, his attacks increased in ferocity, and Anbu, being surprised at this, were having trouble keeping up, and several weapons and bones were broken but no deaths. Satsuki also managed to defeat an Anbu by keeping him distracted with various fire techniques and managed to get behind him and deliver the knockout punch. Soon the battle was finished and the Anbu defeated, their bodies damaged along with their pride due to being beaten by 2 13-year-olds, not even out of the academy. The victory was short-lived, however, as 20 more Anbu along with Minato and Kushina arrived. "Naruto, stop what you're doing," said Minato in a demanding voice. "The Stone of the Spirits doesn't exist." "No one's proved that," yelled Naruto angrily. "This is the one thing in the entire world that can cure me, so I'm going with it. Even if I don't make it, at least I can get her out alive." He pointed to Satsuki, who looked at him in surprise. "You could come home and we could be a family again during your last months alive," said Kushina. "Screw that noise," said Naruto. "When the hell have we been a family? All you did was pamper Narumi and Naruko while you hung me out to dry. You people only started caring was when killed Orochimaru. What went through your minds? Oh look, Naruto doesn't suck now, maybe we should start giving damn and not share a cure with him, even though he's going to die." Naruto put on a mocking tone when he said this. "There's a cure, and when I find it, I'm going to come right back here, jump through your window and flip you all off." "So you won't come back willingly?" said Minato in a cold tone. "Is it that obvious?" asked Naruto sarcastically. "Anbu, I want my son alive." "The Uchiha is inconsequential," ordered Minato. Then 10 Anbu leapt forward, swords drawn. Naruto might be able to block most of them, his only hope is to dodge, but Satsuki was behind him and he didn't want her getting hurt, but before any of the swords hit, blood and broken blades flew everywhere while Naruto felt a familiar presence appear. "What do we have here? I come to see my student off on the journey of a lifetime and instead I find him trying to fight a bunch of people who are trying to impede his progress." "Jiro?" said Naruto, truly happy to see his sensei. "Naruto, my boy, what happened?" asked Jiro with his ever-warm smile, even though he had his sword drawn. "I thought you would have been out of here by now." "I got a little sidetracked." "I see that," he said. "I'll hold them off while you escape." Just then 2 more Anbu attacked but were easily cut down by the ex-Ronin, whose expression went from a kind and gentle to a cold and serious one. "Naruto, listen, this is my final lesson to you. It's better to die right than to live wrong. Try to survive, but don't lose yourself in your quest for survival." Naruto nodded and ran off. The rest of Anbu went after them, but never made it past Jiro, who had a cold look in his eyes facing the Hokage and his wife. "Now, let's see if I've gotten rusty over the years." "But Naruto." Naruto and Satsuki were running through the forest as the sounds of fighting distanced. "I've never seen Jiro like that before," said Naruto. "He's dead serious and kind of scary." "Do you think he'll be alright?" asked Satsuki. "You kidding, it's the Leaf Nin I'm worried about," said Naruto jokingly. "Oh shit, feel that Anbu closing in." "What do we do?" "Grab onto me," said Naruto. "What?" asked Satsuki blushing. "I have a jutsu I can use," explained Naruto. "Won't that cause you pain?" asked Satsuki. "It's worth it. Now hurry." "Are you sure?" "We don't have time for this." Naruto wrapped his arms around Satsuki, who blushed at the close encounter. The two then shot up in a flash of blue which shot up into the sky and away. "Jiro?" Jiro saw the light shoot up into the sky and away. He knew what the light was and smiled before looking down at Minato, who was panting heavily and had several serious injuries, not life-threatening but still pretty bad. Kushina was lying on the ground a few feet away and was unconscious. Minato could not believe the man in front of him. Not only has he taken his best attacks, he barely had a scratch to show for it, he even blocked the Hirishin several times. "What are you?" asked Minato as Jiro squatted down in front of him. "Just an old man with a sword," replied Jiro, his usually kind face returning. "And you know what, Lord Hokage, I surrender." Minato looked at him in shock. "What?" asked Minato. "You kill several of my Anbu, knock out my wife and have me at your mercy, and you surrender?" "Well, your ninja aren't dead, I just maimed them," explained Jiro standing up and sheathing his sword. "My student escaped, and I have no reason to fight anymore, so I surrender." Jiro held out his sheathed sword, and Anbu just arrived, quickly took, well, two more handcuffed him and began leading him away. Well, an Anbu medic checked over Minato, "And by the way, I have no regrets." Okay, so things are picking up now. Naruto is out and about with Satsuki looking for the stone. Also, what does everyone think of Jiro? What if godlike Naruto is neglected by family baddies? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down.